whereby I am a director in a construction company. Now jump over to the technology part, whereby I'm a lecturer in the technology space. However, there are developments that have been done. I know when I was working at the Ministry of Communications, my role there is an advisor together with two other colleagues. I am not sure I'm happy with the fact that you left out a very big role there. I'm also a mother and I'm also a wife. So balancing all of that, I'm currently an HMIS officer for this health-related project because it takes the concept of technology, it takes the social concept, and then it brings them together. What's very important is to people who are currently studying, because of the lack of job opportunities out there, I always say to my students, you need to start thinking. Like I said earlier in the interview, there are a lot of opportunities because Lesotho still has that gap. We need to have thinkers. We need to have innovative thinkers who are now thinking of doing it themselves, exploring that gap that is currently there. For example, look at the curriculum here at Anywhere. You'll find that our students do courses in. We wanted to introduce the concepts of fourth industrial revolution, for example, issues of students protest and all of that. We obviously, because my mother was a teacher, I always wanted to do that. So for me, it was growth in a sense, even though I was also living a field that I came to love very much. We are fortunate because there's still so much to be done. So that for me has been the greatest opportunity. Now, what GEM can actually do if we are lucky and successful in that opportunity, they now transfer that the ICT part and transfer it into the role of arts and the fact that I'm involved in an e-health specific project. You know, when you explain a concept, a technology context to students and tell them exactly as it is in the field.
Welcome everyone to another episode of the Reconnect Podcast and TV Show, where we dive into the minds of inspiring individuals shaping the landscape of technology and beyond. I'm your host, Thapelo Phalali, and today we are honored to have a distinguished guest with us, Dr. Likeleli Qhomane-Letsie, with a BCom Information Technology from University of Free State and Master of Commerce in Informatics and a PhD from University of Pretoria. Dr. Qhomane-Letsie brings a wealth of experience and versatility to our conversation. Not only is she a dedicated lecturer in information system at the National University of Lesotho, but she's also a director at Qhomane Constructions and Transport. Her journey includes roles as an IT lecturer with Pearson and a network and operation officer at the Ministry of Communication, Science and Technology. Beyond the classroom, she is a registered member of IITPSA, Information Technology Professional South Africa, and serves as a advisory board of the GEM Institute. Her commitment to advancing technology extends to her research interest, which includes ICT in education, e-health systems, and information and communication technology for development. As an educator, researcher, and board member, Dr. Qhomane-Letsie has been a forefront of exploring how technology can transform education, healthcare, and drive positive change in communities. Today we have the privilege to gain insights into her experience, perspectives, and exciting developments in her field. So throughout our conversation, we'll be delving into her teaching experiences, the impact of her research in ICT applications, and the crucial role she plays in shaping the direction of technology, education, and development throughout her advisory board position. So without further ado, let's welcome Dr. Likeleli Qhomane-Letsie to the Reconnect Podcast and TV Show. So your career spans teaching, directing a construction and transport company, and working with person as an IT lecturer. How has this diverse professional background shaped your approach to information systems, education, and research?
Thank you for inviting me to your show. I feel that this is a privilege, and I'm really excited about this interview. I believe in diversity, and I think my career so far has sort of indicated that. So in the field of information system, the field in itself is a very diverse field because it takes the concept of technology, it takes the social concept, and then it brings them together. As an information systems professional, or rather in the information systems field, you find that there are people who are technology based, or rather who know technology but who also understand the social aspects of technology. So now in my field, or rather in my journey, I have sort of found myself in the same situation whereby I am a director in a construction company. This is actually a family company. So it, in a way, I sort of inherited that aspect into my life. But however, even though that is the case, you find that because I'm already in the field that looks at very diverse fields, or rather diverse issues, it makes it very easy for me to actually get in there, be in the construction, and then understand what is happening in the construction field, what is how we build roads, how we build bridges, and the financial aspect of that, and also now jump over to the technology part, whereby I'm a lecturer in the technology space. It has become very easy, and I think it's mostly because of my educational background, where I studied aspects such as finance, statistics, and also measured in computer science. So it has in fact been very easy, very diverse, very exciting. I always get very excited when I have to go and travel to the field where roads are being built. I'm told that we have to do certain things, and it becomes such an insight for me. It's very exciting. So it has in a way become very easy. I don't know if that addresses what you wanted to establish.
Yes, it does. It does. So, as the director of Qhomane Construction and Transport, you've had a hands-on experience in administration and finance. How has this practical experience influenced your perspective on technology and information systems, especially in a non-academic setting?
Okay. You cannot separate the two. The reason I'm saying that is because, especially in the field of information systems, and you often find at times in academics, the curriculum itself dictates that you cannot separate the two. I'm saying that because if you, for example, look at the curriculum here at NUA, you'll find that our students do courses in the field of technology, and they also do courses in the field of accounting, financial management, business management. You therefore cannot separate the two because the field in itself dictates that as an information system specialist, you need to be able to understand the technology properly properly to the T, you also need to understand the social aspects that will eventually inform the production or the development of an information system, for example. So in essence, my being on the side of administration in the one end and being in the technology, it makes it a very good marriage, in the sense that even in the field you find that information systems professionals, they work with people, or rather they work in admin, but they have to now translate their understanding of technology to now meet the business needs of that particular environment. So you cannot separate the two. And for me, that has worked really well, because it simply means that you are now going to use the admin part of it, and you can create and develop systems that now address the needs of admin, so that you meet your business needs.
Oh, thank you. So, in your role as the coordinator of mathematics and computer science department at National University of Lesotho, what strategies do you employ to engage students in the ever-evolving field of information systems?
Okay, thank you. This role requires you, for example, to think outside the box as to what new programs, for example, can you introduce so that you are not lagging behind, for example. We have tried to do that. For example, we have had programs where we wanted to introduce the concepts of fourth industrial revolution, for example. So when you are in that role, it means that you need to meet the relevant stakeholders to bring such things. Because of time and because of the issues that we've had, especially in this particular institution, whereby we have had issues of students protest and all of that, we often don't meet that objective, because usually the time is usually has to be divided amongst the actual academics and finishing off the semester and the year. But ideally, in an ideal situation, we in that, or rather when you are in that role, you need to find stakeholders outside industry that can now come into the learning space to try and make students and the learning environment open to the ideas of the industry and what is out there. We need to be able to bring such initiatives. We need to, in fact, ideally, we were supposed to be, as an institution, going out there, doing road works and all of that, to introduce the field and introduce ourselves, also meeting stakeholders. That will make it easy for our graduates and students to now properly be absorbed into the industry later on. So it hasn't happened as perfectly as we would have wanted it to happen, but ideally that's what we strive for.
You supervise projects in computer science and information systems. Could you share some notable projects that students have worked on and the impact they've had?
Okay. I particularly remember the ones that I was working with last year. It was two groups. The one group was an information systems group, and it was looking at a farming fertilizer management system. The other was a computer science group, and they were looking at a farming coordinator or something like it was that sort of a program of farming, where you needed to locate the nearest farmer. So of record, I particularly remember those ones because of the impact they eventually will have in farming. Most of our fourth year projects don't necessarily get implemented. Some of them are just at academics level. But if they were to be implemented, they would be very helpful, especially in the farming, in the agriculture and farming industry. Thank you.
So you transitioned from network and operations officer role at Minister of Communications, Science and Technology to academia. What motivated this shift, and how do you think your industry experience enriches your role as a lecturer?
Okay. The shift or the transition from being in operations and networking, it was more of, I've always wanted to teach, I've always wanted to impact knowledge. So for me, when I got that opportunity to be a lecturer, it was a welcome opportunity, even though that was welcome. I had a lot of fun, or rather, I enjoyed a lot of work that I did in networks and management for the particular reason that I didn't study for that. But once I was in the field, I got training. We had to go for training and all of that. So it became very interesting, a field to explore, because in my educational background, we didn't particularly go into depth in networking and infrastructure. So my move to academia, it was also very exciting, because like I'm saying, I felt, possibly because my mother was a teacher, I always wanted to do that. So for me, it was growth in a sense, even though I was also living a field that I came to love very much.
Lesotho, as your professional base, likely has unique challenges and opportunities in adopting information and communication technologies. Can you shed light on the specific ICT landscape in Lesotho and how it informs your teaching and research?
Okay. We are fortunate as a country, but also unfortunate, in the sense that we are fortunate because there's still so much to be done. So this can open up opportunities if the powers that be were to explore them in detail. So the ICT related field, we still have a lot that we need to cover as a country. For example, an example that I can make, there aren't so many companies that are doing development in terms of applications and all of that. That needs to be explored. So it opens a window of opportunity. However, the unfortunate part is us perhaps lagging behind in whatever we need. We always have to explore outside the country, get consultants outside of the country. So it is an opportunity to take, especially for our upcoming ICT professionals, because so far we are still lagging behind a bit. However, there are developments that have been done. I know when I was working at the Ministry of Communications, I was part of the team that was responsible for the civilian registration, which is your ID registrations and passports and whatever. I particularly remember the consultant who was working on that. He was very amazed that we have a network that we do. There was a setting up of offices around the country, and because of the technology that we already, or rather the infrastructure that we had through our service providers, they were very impressed, this compared to other countries that they have worked at. So we are both at an advantage and disadvantage. We just need to take advantage of the opportunities that are still there.
Okay. So, as an advisory board member of the GEM Institute, how do you contribute to shaping the Institute initiatives, and what impact do you hope it will have on the field of information systems?
Okay. GEM Institute is a very diverse organization. It deals with arts and cultures and music. It also deals with the technology. So my role there is an advisor together with two other colleagues. So I come in an advisory role, especially in the ICT background. So every time, for example, when there are opportunities, like right now at this point in time, we are currently busy with something at GEM, whereby we are trying to see if we can explore a possible opportunity. This is an ICT related opportunity or yes, or opportunity. Now, what GEM can actually do, if we are lucky and successful in that opportunity, they now transfer that the ICT part and transfer it into the role of arts and music and cultural fields. So it becomes a very good gel. So my role there, I'm glad that we can actually see technology and the arts working together to build Basotho, to transform Lesotho into something that eventually becomes a very big field to have different opportunities.
Balancing your roles as a lecturer, director, and advisory board member must be demanding. Like, how do you manage these diverse responsibilities, and what advice do you have for individuals navigating multiple professional roles?
I am not sure I'm happy with the fact that you left out a very big role there. I'm also a mother and I'm also a wife. So balancing all of that, I'm glad we had this interview today, because I particularly remember yesterday I was in a meeting. It was 7 p.m. It was a meeting with a GEM related meeting, GEM Institute related meeting. I particularly remember I had my phone and I was busy taking a bath, and in the background my kids were busy screaming. So you can just imagine the balancing act in all of that. Somehow we have to make time, because eventually all of these pieces have to come together to work together. It's a matter of time management, but most importantly the support that one gets around my husband and my family and my helper, to be able to help out in that sense, and also the help that I get from my colleagues. But it's not easy, but it's got to be done.
Could you provide some insight in your current research projects within the realms of ICT in education, e-health systems, and information and communication technologies for development?
Okay. I'm a bit disadvantaged at the moment, particularly because of this many hats that I have to wear, the ones that we previously just talked about. I have not been too successful in taking my research. It is a primary role that I have to play, but I've only been writing papers but not really attending conferences or publishing. It's simply because also I am a recent mother, so all of that I couldn't carry out together successfully. But I am busy doing writing papers in e-health, especially the fact that I'm involved in an e-health specific project. In the field that I'm currently working on as well, I'm currently an HMIS officer for this health related project. So there's a lot of issues that needs to be discovered there. So my interest currently is with regards to the health systems that we have in the country, exploring them and getting as much insight as possible. But these are still work in progress. I need to now start collecting data, writing up, as well as presenting them at conferences, as well as producing papers on that. But I'm much more lately interested in the e-health space, because for the obvious reason, because I'm very active there, and I see a lot of research that can go into that, so that we know as Lesotho what is happening in e-health, as well as exploring that field further. So that is where my greatest interest is now. I'm currently just working on that, but I haven't published or done anything with regards to that. Yes, thank you.
Well, with the rapid advancements in technology, how do you ensure your teaching methods and research stay current, and what recommendations do you have for professionals seeking to stay updated in the field?
Okay, a lot of research, lot of reading up the latest publications on teaching, as well as on the technology space in itself. But also the practical work that I'm getting now from the e-health space has really broadened things up for me. The nice thing about it is that we meet our colleagues who are actually in the ICT field, whereas with us, we are in academia as well as doing that. So that also opens up a lot. It opens up to a fact that you find, when you're working with these colleagues from the implementing partners, for example, like ICAP, you find them using the latest technology, exploring latest technology to advance the field. So with that collaboration, or with that meetings that we have with that associations, it makes it easy for us to actually take what is currently happening on the field and now take that and implement it in the classroom environment. So that also makes it very interesting, very exciting to actually, when you explain a concept, a technology context to students, and tell them exactly as it is in the field. So that for me has been the greatest opportunity for me, being in academia, but also being in the practical, in the industry. So it is very enjoyable. Also, remembering the fact that I'm also in the construction industry, bringing that, if you say to students, develop a system that engineers can use to do this, to detect this, to do that and that, build an information system that will do this in the health system or in the construction industry. That is so exciting, and it opens up one's mind. And once you are like that, it becomes very easy for you to take that to the classroom environment.
Thank you so much for being on the Reconnect Podcast and TV Show. Is there anything you'd like to share before we
go? First of all, thank you and your team for inviting me. I think it's very interesting to have you guys doing this. So all the best. I hope this channel grows further and further. But also, what's very important is to people who are currently studying, because of the lack of job opportunities out there, I always say to my students, you need to start thinking. Like I said earlier in the interview, there are a lot of opportunities, because Lesotho still has that gap. We need to have thinkers. You need to have innovative thinkers who are now thinking of doing it themselves, exploring that gap that is currently there. South Africa is way forward, and some other Southern African countries. We need to close up that gap, and that gap can only be closed by you upcoming ICT related graduates. You need to explore that gap and take advantage of that opportunity. Otherwise, thank you for having me. I think I actually enjoyed the interview more than I thought I would.
No, thank you so much.